coming to you live from the music room at Google Irvine in beautiful sunny Southern California. It's COUCHella! With performances today from Henry Dice, Jess Renteria, Anthony May, Matt Boo, and Kevin Rossi. Now give it up for your host, Jackson Sigwin.
All right, I'm ready. Just count me down when we're live, Steve.
We're live right now.
We're live right now.
We're live right now.
People can see me,
People can see you.
but they can't hear me.
No, they can hear you. They can definitely hear you.
Welcome to the 25th annual Coachella Festival. I'm so thrilled to be sitting here where we are about to welcome artists such as Frank Ocean, Kendrick Lamar, SZA. I could not be more stoked.
Hey, buddy, we practiced this last night. It's COUCHella. See, there's a couch?
See that there's a couch, but it's pronounced Coach.
No, it's COUCHella. COUCHella, not Coachella. That's something else.
Coachella?
No. COUCHella. COUCHella.
It says
No, it's COUCHella. Irvine doesn't have the budget for Kendrick Lamar.
that wasn't a typo?
That was not a typo.
You're not pranking me.
I'm not pranking you.
Why am I just now being made aware of this? Steve?
It's COUCHella. Google Irvine Googlers.
Sorry, folks. It seems there was a bit of a mix-up. For those of you at home, this is COUCHella.
COUCHella, yeah.
A one-letter distinction that actually makes quite a lot of difference. COUCHella is a quarterly talent show hosted by our very own, very talented Irvine Googlers. I started on August 15th. This Noogler hat is quite fresh. So this is actually my first time experiencing this, and I, for one, could not be more excited to be here. I've met the performers, I've talked with them, and I have to say you are all in for a magnificent treat today. I'm sure you guys are very eager for me to stop talking and get on with the show. So without further ado, please help me give an extraordinarily warm welcome to our first performer, Henry Dice. was wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in person today and taking a seat next to. This is my emotional support Googler, Krishna. If you go on go/G deals, you actually get 35% off any emotional support Googler bought through Herman Miller. So, Henry, you chose to play Maple Leaf Rag by Scott Joplin.
That's right. That's right.
Who's most known for, I'm not that familiar with ragtime music, so I hear Scott Joplin, I just think The Entertainer. So,
That's right. That's the most well-known piece of his. Scott Joplin, many of you know, is long considered sort of the founder or the godfather of ragtime music. Scott Joplin was born way back in 1869. His parents were former slaves. Scott turned out to be an early piano prodigy, it seems. But unfortunately, in those days, black musicians were not welcomed in most places. And so Scott was obliged to perform in, shall we say, less than reputable establishments, one of which was a place called the Maple Leaf Club in a little town in Sedalia, Missouri, of all places. That's where the name of the song comes from, the Maple Leaf Rag. Doesn't have anything to do with Canada. And it was published he published it in 1899. And that right around the turn of the century, that was kind of the heyday of ragtime music. And after the turn of the century, it was sort of supplanted by the early jazz musicians, and ragtime became, kind of faded out. But then it experienced when the movie The Sting came out in 1973. Very popular movie. Robert Redford, Paul Newman won all sorts of awards. It was the movie of the year. Very, very popular movie. And the soundtrack of that movie was The Entertainer by Scott Joplin. It also featured the rest of the soundtrack included some of his other work. And so that sort of inspired a renaissance, a renewed interest in ragtime music. And now, of course, everybody plays it. It's very popular.
Oh, not everybody. I certainly could not do that. But Henry, you spoke about this renaissance that started around 1973, but what was the impetus for you in particular to pick up ragtime music?
Well, I really enjoy playing it. It's a very upbeat, kind of peppy kind of music. Yeah. It's customarily played at a very rapid, a pretty rapid tempo, which I can't really do. I mean, I only play it at about half the speed that it really should be played at. But it has a very a distinctive kind of a syncopated style to it. The left hand is kind of doing these big stride chord progressions, and the right hand there's a melody, and the two hands are kind of playing against each other, and they're at part of the time they're kind of a one beat out of sync with each other, and that's what gives it this kind of ragtime sound. And it's a little hard to learn, but it's just a lot of fun to play. I just really enjoy it, and sometimes I feel like I could just sit there. I could just play it all day long. My wife, however, wants me to keep my day job for now, so we'll have to see. But I have a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of fun hearing you play it. That was magnificent. Thank you so much. Can we get another round of applause for him?
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. All right. Our next guest, Jess Renteria, will be playing guitar for us remotely. Jess unfortunately isn't able to be here with us in person today, but Jess, I hope you're watching. That was phenomenal, and what a diverse set list from Toby Fox to Zed to XXXTentacion. Really fun and frankly incredible fact about that performance was that Jess arranged all of those covers by ear. So that's incredibly impressive. Yeah, so just another round of applause for Jess. All right, next up we have a poet, Fiona Wong. I'd like to, before I invite Fiona up on stage, just issue a slight trigger warning. The topics discussed here in this piece are sensitive, may be triggering to some. It deals with suicide and other similar topics. So just a trigger warning before Fiona comes up. So now, could we give an especially warm welcome to Fiona Wong?
Hello. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really a poet, but I have poems. Yeah. So before I get into it, a little bit of an intro poem. As I share my personal musings, at first they may seem confusing. Are they stories anchored in truth, or merely creations to sink your mental tooth? Within each particle of a fractured soul, the meaning will come to you in a memory that only you'll know. So just keep that in mind. Sorry. So this first piece is called if I was to present any more pieces, but this first piece is like the very first poem I wrote, and it encapsulates my experience. It's called Life of an Edge Case. Creation does not have an exact plan. Anomalies appear now and then. An edge case. In a world with uncomfortable rules in place. Away from peaks of the distribution curves, according to the rules, to no one it serves. So from existence did it fade, as did its passion, a simulacrum, the edge case fashioned. The world rejoiced, hello, another like us, in their monotonic voice. But when soul and body meet in a confluence, in a torrent of incongruence, from this persistent friction and ignition, an abhorrent flame that consumes soul and body all the same. This edge case, life decided, in this world shall they be resided. A true spark of existing provides the means of sustainable subsisting, despite knowing the mountains of hurdles for this edge case to overcome and not durdle. How shall educate others of my place? One by one shall my love guide my pace. For I do deserve a spot in this space. Sighed a weird, nuanced, misunderstood edge case. Should I read another one? Do we have time?
Absolutely.
Okay, this one's a bit darker. This one is called Brave. Some people call me brave. Brave, what does it mean? I ponder around this word they gave. Is it brave to live a hollow life, void of passion but void of strife? Is it brave to let my mentality capsize so I can metamorphosize? Is it brave to take up space, to risk being struck down and shown my place? Is it brave to stand for what is right when my mentors join the other side and fight? Is it brave to sit alone and cry all night until feelings fade or the morning's light? Is it brave to share my tale to those who try to empathize but destined to fail? As I shake off my inner thoughts, for they are not what they have sought. Brave, you say? Yes, I am brave on each and every day. I'll be brave, I'll be brave, for there is no other option if I'm to avoid an early grave. Oh, okay, they said, and they wander away scratching their head, searching for a solution for my plight. Alas, others have to brave their own fights. Hello.
Hello. Thank you. Welcome to COUCHella. And thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful. That was incredible. And you demonstrated such an impressive marriage of both technical acumen, but also this love for poetry. What was your first? What ignited that flame for you to get into writing poetry? What made you first put pen to paper?
I would like to thank the Poetry Club for sparking that flame. However, in terms of material, the last couple years were very hard on me. So what better way than to just write them? If you're feeling an overwhelming emotion, and to try to reach out and connect to people in terms of a poem.
Was it initially your intention to share these poems, or were they more of a personal catharsis for you?
A little bit of both. Catharsis because, all these emotions and just banging around in your head, and you just want to put them somewhere safe.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, I think that one of the feelings and one of the overwhelming feelings is kind of a loss of connection, especially during the last few years in COVID times. And I wish that these poems are heard by people, and so that we could connect and to kind of inspire some kind of mutual understanding.
I love that. Thank you again for sharing that with us. That was incredible. Yeah. Can we get another round of applause for Fiona? Sorry. Segues are weird.
It's okay, you got this.
All right, next up, the man who needs no introduction. His name echoes through the annals of these halls. The fire pit is named after him. One of our very own ex-Googlers. There are legends about this man. I hear his first year off, He took an entire year, a vow of silence, just to better understand the sound of a whisper. Now let's give a very warm welcome to Anthony Mays.
Wish I did know what the sound of a whisper was like. That'd be great. Everything's been loud. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to involve y'all in this, all right? So we're going to try to do a little stomp and clap because that's what I know, all right? So hopefully y'all can do this because if you can't, if I do this, that just means stop, please, because you're killing it, all right? Follow with me. All right. Man, y'all, Googlers can keep time? What? I learned something new. Okay, all right, we're good. All right, so I'm gonna cue you in at a certain point. You're gonna do that stomp, clap, clap, all right? That makes sense? All right, cool. So this is December, yeah? So Christmas is coming up very soon and the holidays and all this other kind of stuff. We're gonna be all jolly and happy. And so because I didn't have much time to prepare, I'm going to do a song that I learned when I was 16 years old. It's called God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. And let's get into the spirited mood, shall we? Okay. It's around here. Good work.
Thank you so much, Anthony. That was incredible. How does it feel to be back?
You know, it feels great. It always feels great.
Yeah.
I always miss this place, and I have had the chance to travel to a lot of places and do some things this year that I never anticipated, but my heart is always in Google Irvine. I had the opportunity to visit Google Austin a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, Google Irvine is still the best, right? Like, y'all have some nice stuff, but I still love Google Irvine. So even when I'm not working here anymore, I'm still trying to get people to come here and visit and enjoy their time. So, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. You said that you had started playing piano when you were 7 years old?
I started playing when I was 7 years old, yeah.
Was that your decision, or was that maybe like a parent guiding you? What was the original?
Yeah, so I was a relatively new foster kid, and there was an organ in the house that my parents had, and I would just keep asking my mom to play the organ. She'd be like, no, you can't play the organ. So then the next day, because it's a brand new day, I'm like, well, can I play the organ now? And she's like, no, you can't play. So I did this for like 2 weeks, and she was like, finally, fine, you can go play the organ. So I started playing the organ, and she's like cooking, doing all this stuff, and she's like, wait, are you playing music? It's like, yeah. She's like, how are you doing that? It's like, I don't know, I hear sounds, and then I play them with my, so it turns out I could play music by ear, and my 2 kids also can play music by ear, and I didn't teach them a thing. And so my mom was like, well, maybe we should, get you in lessons. So I took lessons and started playing at church and all those other kinds of things. And so I've been playing pretty much ever since then. And I love that, I've been able to bring that with me throughout my even professional journey. I was getting tips on the piano at, conferences, because I would play. And so it's always a joy for me to be able to share that, not just in my personal life and spiritual life, but also in my professional life.
Yeah. When you started out playing music, when did it transition from something that was more hymnal / gospel to? How would you characterize your style now?
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of like a hodgepodge, because I'm one of those kinds of guys that I just hear a bunch of stuff, and then I have this catalog of. It's kind of like having a framework with a bunch of libraries and I just have these libraries in my head from songs, so I might be playing like this part of a Charlie Brown theme, but then this other part of Kirk Franklin, and this other thing from Richard Smallwood. And so for me, there's always just a collection of sounds and rhythms and things in my head. And part of what allows me to improvise is just being able to pull these things out as I need to very quickly. Yeah. And so hopefully the engineers in the room really appreciated the analogy that I drew there, so that you can make sense of that. Yeah.
Are there any other pianists that you'd like to plug right now? You have the stage.
Are there any? Well, so one, I was just like, what kind of question is that? But Corey Henry is like one of my favorite dudes. Corey Henry is just phenomenal. He's the guy that makes me regret even starting, because like there's those people who are like, you just look at them, you're just like, I shouldn't be a coder. These people are like, this is a real engineer. So Corey Henry is one of those kinds of folks where you can just tell that all of the investment of time that he made to be as great as he is comes out effortlessly in the music that he performs. And I don't understand even half of what he does, but I enjoy it immensely. And so if you have a chance to check out Corey Henry, just an amazing artist and someone who just reminds me of how far I have to go on my own musical journey. Yeah,
it's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming back. We'd love to have you anytime.
Y'all know y'all can't keep me out. That's how it works. Thank you.
Can we get another round of applause for Anthony, please?
Wait, you wanted me to move? Okay, fine.
You can stay if you'd like. Yeah, we have plenty of room.
Yeah, we got plenty of room on this couch.
Yeah. For our next performer, we have something a little different from anything else that we've had today. Our very own Nanmu is going to be doing a comedy routine. So let's get a warm welcome.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Good. My name is Nanmu, last name Mu, and there was a COVID variant called Mu. It's true. Google it. And all the headlines were like, stay 6 feet away from Mu. Mu will kill you. And Moo gets around. The CDC is actively trying to stop and contain Moo, but Moo is still getting around. How does the CDC know what I do on a Friday night? 1 million people have been infected by Moo. In fact, and for some strange reason, it's mostly men. Mostly. How does the CDC know what I do on a Saturday night? Google must be feeding the CDC my search history. Be kind to everyone you know, because you never know when you'll turn up. In high school, I had a bully, and I don't want to give his name away, so I'll just make one up. Let's just say, I don't know, Christy Song from Ayala High School. And Christy Song would tell me that I dress like I shop at Walmart. But later, it turns out he had to drop out while I'm working at Google. So who's shopping at Walmart now? Do you know what I love most about working at Google? Other than being able to get back at high school bullies? It is that working at Google is a status symbol, and it brings you a lot of social capital. For example, when I tell people that I work at Google, they automatically assume that I have the smarts of Bill Gates and the sex appeal of Bill Gates. I operate in a male-dominated environment in a position of great impact where I must be highly intelligent and willing to take risks. Yes, I am talking about being a stand-up comedian. Making a room full of people laugh is intoxicating. I have never done cocaine before. Thank you. But I imagine this is what cocaine would feel like. And I am humbled by how many people are interested in what I have to say. Already, my video about the Moo variant has received over 600 views online. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yep, I couldn't believe it either. I watched my own video more than 600 times. And some of my coworkers have even told me that they are proud of me, words that I'll never hear from my immigrant parents. Unless I do something truly remarkable, like cure cancer. And even then, they'll be like, you know your cousin in China? He cured death. So everyone, when you go home tonight, tell your kids that you're proud of them. Otherwise, this is what they'll be doing on a Thursday afternoon. I am even getting fan mail. I did a set about how I got into Google and how I did not get murdered. I see we're awake now. This Googler emailed me thanking me for standing up for women. Yep, I am a national hero and the voice of a generation. A brave, badass comedian who stands up for their own and isn't afraid of bombing. I am the role model for President Zelensky. I'm glad people watch the news here. And a completely unexpected side effect of doing comedy is that it makes you more attractive. Already, 2 guys mentioned watching my video before asking me out, as if my video was a referral code. And at first, I was like, I must be so charismatic and magnetic on stage. That's what's drawing them in. Then I realized, is it just because they know Moo gets around? But I am a professional, and I adhere to a strict policy of not dating my fans. So I'm still single. So if you're L6 or above, find me after the show. And you're gonna have to be L6 or above, because this don't come cheap. Gonna set you back a little bit. Gotta pay to play. You better hope that GSU vests. Because shopping isn't just the Google department that I work for. It is also what I do on the weekends. I like my men the way I like my chocolate. Dark and rich. In your 401k, you better have 401k. You better have enough money saved away for a plan B in case I forget to take plan B. If you're looking at a woman and you have to ask yourself whether you could afford her, you probably can't. And some of my friends ask me, but Nan, what if a guy is not successful, but you give him time to get there? And I'm like, I don't come with a layaway plan. This isn't Walmart. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Namu.
That was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, hi.
You described the feeling of performing comedy as intoxicating. When did you discover that passion?
I think my friends have always told me I'm funny. And, recently, shout out to Arts at Google. I took Jesse Fernandez stand-up comedy class, and I really loved it. I love being on stage, the thrill of laughter, even sometimes like the fear of bombing. It's a thrill ride. And, having people laugh at what you say is a genuine compliment. It's not something they could fake. It's visceral. Yeah.
Other than Jesse Fernandez, who are some other inspirations for your comedy?
Oh, I love Taylor Tomlinson.
Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah. She has 2 Netflix special, and you know how they have that, like, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
I would have, like, what would Taylor Tomlinson do?
You should do
I
it.
love
Yeah.
I love her stuff. Yeah.
How many, if you're willing to share, any funny stories about bombing?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever, like, completely bombed. Like, I've never had, like, not have any laugh.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes it does feel a little awkward if you're up there and it doesn't land the way you think it does. And then with, like, different crowds, like, different jokes work.
Yeah.
But over time and with experience, you just, you become a little less, like, immune to that feeling. And you just know, like, if this joke doesn't work, the next joke will work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
One last question. Do you have any other little bits of advice for any aspiring comedians who are afraid of that feeling of that risk of failure? Because it does feel, like you said, you take risks. You are putting yourself center stage, and you're really just making yourself very vulnerable, putting yourself up there and doing your own comedy and not knowing what the reaction might be. What advice do you have for people who are trying to get past that hump?
Yeah. For me, like during the pandemic, I think it's been a hard couple years for, like, the whole world. And what I got out of it is life is short. And do something even if you're afraid of doing it. And one thing I did was before I got on stage, I would go to open mics and see how other people do. And you see that other people are not perfect all the time. So then it kind of makes you feel a little bit better. You're like, hey, I'm at least funnier than like 2 of the people that go up there, right? I'll be okay, And I would just say, just go out there, don't be afraid, and, live life to the fullest.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Can we
you,
get
thank
another
you.
round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, next we have actually our last performer, Kevin Rutti. He is doing a little bit of music production and then a little something else that we'll get to when we get there. Kevin? Kevin, would you like to come up?
Hey, how Thanks.
Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you. That's kind of you to say.
Yeah. What made you get into music production?
Yeah, so I was just recording stuff that I wrote on guitar, like, over 10 years ago. Got, some computer software to kind of record it, and kind of just dove right in. It's kind of this intersection between two things I'm very passionate about, technology and software and music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people who are just maybe making beats on Audacity for fun? They're still in that very nascent stage, and they'd like to move on to do something like what you do. Do you have any advice for them on how to kind of break out and kind of find their own style?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't go to school for any of this. I'm completely self-taught, and it's all through YouTube. There's
very impressive.
Endless resources out there. People that are professionals that share their techniques and all their tricks and secrets. And it would be much harder to learn how to do this if it wasn't for YouTube. So we kind of contribute to that, and I think that's great.
What PA do you work for?
I'm under analytics.
You're not under YouTube.
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was a plug for your own team. Okay. Well, that's really impressive. Do you have any other producers that you'd like to plug while you're here in the hot seat?
Where do I start? I think that right now I listen to a lot of Boris Brejcha. He's a German techno producer. I love his stuff. He's amazing. So I listen to a lot of that. Grizz is another one I really like. I think he's based out of Hollywood. Yeah, he's awesome. So excellent. So I think those are the guys that I'm listening to most right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then one last question, kind of that process of finding sounds and hearing something and being like, oh, I could put some reverb on this, or I'm just throwing around lingo. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Or slowing this down, speeding this up. That's so fascinating to me, because my mind doesn't work like that. I don't hear some sound and I'm like, oh man, this would work well with this and this and this. What is that process like for you?
That's a really good question. It's often kind of iterative. When I first started this track, it sounded nothing like this. There's like the bass line that loops on, I think in the second part where it's looping 2 bars. That was actually the bass line all the way through. Up until it was almost done. It's it needs to actually have an 8-bar bass line. So I just kind of changed it out. But I think that just being willing to completely revisit things and edit it, I think that's a good mentality to have, and just kind of be patient with it.
Not being married to one piece and one iteration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for sitting and talking with us and for sharing that. I understand we have one more thing that you're going to share.
I don't exactly know how the details of how this is going to work, but
so you have something that you want to share, but it's like a product idea for digital music stuff that maybe Google could do. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the live stream and switch over to GVC to talk about that. So if you want to you guys can stay here, just hang out. But anybody who's on the live stream, go to COUCHella-overtime to talk with Jess there, and we'll switch over to.
I'm Kevin.
1 minute to switch over to GVC, and then
This is Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the end of a long show. I don't know if my voice is coming through, so can you tell?
So we are going to switch over to go/Coachella-overtime to see something that Kevin is proposing. It is something that we don't really want to maybe broadcast as broadly. So.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So we're just going to take a minute to let y'all switch over there.
Awesome. Thanks.